You're locked into Dodor Vibe FM from Little Haiti to the world. And right now, it's time to dive in. This is Dodor Vibe Deep Dive, your rundown of the top stories that mattered this week, from Haiti to the US, Port-au-Prince to Paris, and across the Caribbean diaspora. News, culture, and headlines that hit home. Whether you missed it or need a recap, we've got you. This is Dodor Vibe Deep Dive, and it starts right now. Let's go. May 19th to 25, 2025.
You know, trying to follow what's happening in Haiti lately, it feels like you get these fragments, right? News about violence, then maybe something about aid or international talks. It's really hard to piece together a clear picture, even when you're trying to pay attention.
It absolutely is. And that's really what we're trying to do with this deep dive. We've pulled together quite a range of recent material.
Okay.
News sources like North Miami, the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, AP, Washington Post, Guardian, Deseret News. But also reports like from Haiti Response, info from places like Wikipedia, Vatican News, PBS, City of Philadelphia, CNW Network, the Haitian Times, even a press release from Dodor Vibe.
Wow. Okay. Quite a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea is to sift through it all and focus on the really key developments. You know, the security situation, the politics, the humanitarian crisis, and also what the diaspora is doing.
Right. Let's try and get some clarity then. So where should we start? I guess the security situation seems unavoidable. It feels like the core issue right now.
I think it is. And there's a really significant development in how the Haitian government is tackling the gangs, especially in Port-au-Prince. We know gangs control, something like over 85% of the capital?
Yes, staggering.
So the government has really ramped up its use of explosive drones against them.
Okay, drones. I saw headlines about that. Over 300 people reportedly killed. That's quite a number.
It is. But here's the detail that stands out. There's apparently no confirmation that any major gang leaders have actually been killed in these strikes.
Huh. So lots of casualties, but maybe not hitting the top leadership. It does make you question the strategy from Prime Minister Alex Didier-Fils-Aimé. Is it about actually dismantling the gangs or something else?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, this kind of remote warfare, it might look targeted, but if it's causing civilian harm without taking out the leaders, it could just, breed more resentment. Yeah. Make things worse, potentially. And alongside this, we're also seeing the government bringing in private U.S. security contractors. Eric Prince's name has come up. This is supposed to support efforts before the November elections.
So drones and private contractors. It sounds like they're trying different angles, maybe feeling a bit desperate.
It certainly suggests they're exploring multiple options. Meanwhile, on the international side, the U.S. is looking at ways to apply pressure too, right? This move towards sanctions.
Yeah, tell us about that. What's interesting is that it seems bipartisan.
Exactly. That's quite notable. The Haiti Criminal Collusion Transparency Act of 2025 has support from both sides. And it's not just aiming at the gangs on the street.
Right. It's going after their supporters.
Precisely. The idea is to target the networks, political figures, economic elites who might be, enabling or even profiting from all this chaos.
So hitting the support structure, the bill actually asks the State Department to name names, basically. List the gangs, leaders, and their connections.
Yes. It requires a report detailing those links. If that actually happens and has teeth, well, that could really cause some disruption for those involved.
You can see why they're pushing for it. The humanitarian situation is just awful. What were the numbers? 5.7 million facing food insecurity?
And over 1 million people internally displaced. The violence, the crimes described are horrific, so the urgency is definitely there. A version of the sanctions bill has already passed out of committee in the House, which shows some momentum.
And beyond sanctions, there's also talk about deploying troops from Latin America.
Yeah, that's another angle the U.S. is reportedly considering. The idea is maybe using troops from countries like Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, potentially under the OAS, the Organization of American States.
Okay. Why now? Is it because the other international effort isn't quite working out?
Well, it seems connected to the fact that the U.S.-funded, Kenyan-led multinational security support mission has faced significant delays and, frankly, questions about its effectiveness so far.
So this could be a plan B or maybe a parallel track, looking for regional partners to step in more directly.
Yeah.
But it's still early stages, you said.
Very early stages, from what the report suggests. Just discussions at this point. But it does hint at a potential shift, maybe acknowledging that stabilizing Haiti needs a broader, perhaps more regional approach. It really shows how hard it's been for the international community to find something that works.
Okay, let's shift focus now, because tied into all this is the humanitarian crisis. And some of these details are really concerning, like the HIV and AIDS treatment shortages.
Oh, absolutely distressing. It's a direct, terrible outcome of reduced international aid. We're seeing reports that over 90% of USAID aid reductions have forced key clinics to close.
90%, wow.
Yeah, and that puts over 150,000 Haitians living with HIV or AIDS in serious jeopardy. People are protesting, understandably. They're facing medicine shortages, plus the ongoing stigma. It's a double burden.
And hospitals might actually run out of supplies soon, I think I read by July.
That's the fear. Some are predicting they might have to close their doors if things don't change quickly. It's not just violence threatening lives. The whole healthcare system is crumbling under the pressure.
It's just devastating.
It really is. And this breakdown affects everyone, but especially the most vulnerable. Think about the children. The violence is forcing kids out of school, putting them in incredibly dangerous situations.
Yeah.
There are organizations like Confiance Haiti doing amazing work trying to provide some education, some safety, but, well, it's an uphill battle against this backdrop of chaos. The long-term impact on these kids is just heartbreaking to think about.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's look at the U.S. angle again, specifically policies affecting Haitians, particularly the diaspora. There seem to be some major potential shifts under discussion.
Yes, quite significant. There's a draft proposal from the Trump administration floating around. It suggests redirecting foreign aid money up to $250 million to pay for the voluntary repatriation of migrants, including Haitians.
Voluntary repatriation, back to the current situation in Haiti.
Exactly. That's why it's drawing heavy criticism. Many are saying it's inhumane, basically, to encourage people to return, even voluntarily, to such instability. It seems to clash with stated U.S. values.
Especially when, at the same time, there are plans being announced to end temporary protected status TPS for Haitians. That affects a huge number of people already here, right?
Hundreds of thousands, potentially, people who've built lives in the U.S. over years. Now, there are legal challenges to that TPS decision ongoing in federal court, so it's not finalized. But it creates this cloud of uncertainty, real anxiety for the Haitian community in the U.S. These aren't abstract policies. They hit families hard.
Yeah. Absolutely. But it's not all just challenges and anxiety. The diaspora seems incredibly active. Tell us about that summit in Indianapolis.
Right. This is really important. Despite everything, you see real resilience and proactive efforts. Over 200 Haitian American leaders got together, focusing on very practical things. Housing, getting involved civically, mental health, building wealth.
So community-led efforts.
Exactly. The theme seemed to be about the community taking charge, sharing their stories, building their own institutions. It feels like a powerful counter-narrative, you know? The diaspora trying to shape solutions from within.
That's really encouraging to hear, taking ownership. Okay, and let's not forget the cultural side. May is Haitian Heritage Month.
Yes, a really important time. It's celebrated globally, wherever the diaspora is. Parades, cultural events. It's about recognizing Haiti's history, its culture, and the contributions of Haitian people worldwide. A moment to celebrate that enduring spirit.
And speaking of culture and connection, there's something new happening in media, too. Dodor Vibe FM launching in Brooklyn.
Yeah, this sounds quite exciting. It's set to launch right at the end of May 31st. Their mission is pretty clear. Amplify Haitian culture, connect communities globally. The theme for their launch event really says it all. Breaking the invisible chains, media, diaspora, and the future of Haiti. It highlights how media can, shape the story and empower people.
It definitely sounds like more than just a local radio station. They're planning to stream online, too.
That's the plan. Live streaming across different platforms to reach audiences in Haiti, Canada, France, the Caribbean, the U.S. That kind of reach, well, it could be really influential in connecting the diaspora and sharing perspective.
And they offer other services, too?
Yeah, Dodor Vibe Studio. It seems they do media production, audio, video, podcasts, voiceovers, plus advertising, design, even consulting. And importantly, they work in English, Haitian Creole, and French, focusing specifically on the Caribbean diaspora.
Interesting. So it's another example of the diaspora actively building resources, using media to connect and preserve culture.
Precisely. It shows a commitment not just to remembering the past, but actively shaping the future narrative through connection and expression.
Okay, so let's try and pull these threads together. We've got this intense gang violence, the government using drones, which is controversial. Then there are international moves, potential sanctions, maybe exploring troop deployment, but that's uncertain.
Right. And layered on top is this dire humanitarian crisis, food, healthcare, especially the HIV medication shortage.
And the complex U.S. policy shifts on repatriation and TPS, creating anxiety. But also this really active diaspora, organizing summits, building things like Dodor Vibe FM to connect and preserve culture. It's all deeply interwoven.
It really is. You can't separate them. The security breakdown fuels the humanitarian disaster, which impacts diaspora efforts, and international policy decisions can either help or, frankly, hinder the whole situation.
So it leads us, and you listening, with a pretty big question, I think. When you look at all these different factors, the government actions, the international players, the U.S. policies, the diaspora's own initiatives, what single thing, if you had to pick one, do you think will be the most crucial, the most decisive in shaping where Haiti goes from here? Something to really think about, and certainly a complex puzzle. But hopefully, diving into these different pieces today has brought at least a little more clarity.
And that's your deep dive. The headlines, the stories, the voices that matter, brought to you by Dodor Vibe FM. Catch us every week for a recap of the news that moves our people, our culture, and our world. Missed part of the show? No stress. Replays continue all week and are always on dodorvibe.com and on our socials at Dodor Vibe. Until next time, stay sharp, stay loud, and stay connected. This has been Dodor Vibe Deep Dive from Little Haiti to the world.